Hello, everybody. So excited to be here with you two, Nick Fryer, Jeff Ulrich, for the highest rated edition, week in and week out of the slate. AC on the ones and twos. Producer Eamon trying to keep this train on the tracks. I missed you guys last week. Fryer, how was everything? How did everything go?
You know what? It's funny. I still don't know how to read this. You were away, of course, missed you very, very much.
Yep,
and then it was like the first time that Jeff actually decided to fade some of my picks. And now he's got an egg on his face coming in today because they both came through.
Oh, Jeff Ulrich.
I didn't know you picked Wyndham Clark to win the event. Sorry.
No, I didn't. I didn't. And when
so you didn't. So they didn't come through, is what you're saying. Okay.
I said top 10 for Hatton, and then what was it? And then I said top 20 or top 10 for him, and he finished tied 8th. So they were both right.
Okay, yeah, he is a big top 10, top 20 guy, which I respect because there's a little bit of a safety.
And for the record, I did agree with the Sung JM top 20 call.
That's fair. You did.
Okay,
you did.
So that counts as a win for you then too, Jeff.
It does.
Congratulations, Nick Fryer. Two basketball games tonight. There are two teams who can close out their series by winning game 5 tonight. You have the Heat up 3-1 right now on the Knicks. You have the Lakers up 3-1 right now on the Warriors. Which team are you more confident in to pull off the win tonight and extend? Give me a team that's down right now you're confident can extend its series.
Okay, yeah. If we're talking about extending the series between the two, I mean, it's not really that hard to make this case here. But looking at the Knicks versus the Warriors, I'm going to go with the Warriors as a team that's more likely to extend their series. The spread is up to, 7.5 right now. It is definitely the sharp play when you look at the splits and everything, too. 43% of the bets, 65% of the handle. So the public likes the Lakers tonight against the spread, but the Warriors are the sharp play. I would personally take it down at 6.5. I cannot remember where it opened at, but I know it wasn't quite this high. It's moved up a little bit on DraftKings Sportsbook. 6.5 is still a decent payout. I think it was like 135 last I checked as an alternate spread. I will say that if you are at all hesitant about, okay, I don't know how the Warriors are going to do in this one, it might be a close game still. Then if you think it is going to be a close game, don't go with the spread for the Lakers here. I would just go for them to win it straight up. Like don't mess around with it, because if it gets that close, LeBron will just go for it at that point, and AD for that matter, or Lonnie freaking Walker. I still can't believe that one,
dude. Yeah, hopefully you think he's got a strong enough supporting cast to actually win.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you're giving him appropriate credit.
Fire, give me your viewpoint on this quickly, because like why are the Lakers still plus 260 here? Being up 3-1 and like dominating a couple games. Like
the history of the Warriors?
Are people like not? Are people just not like? Are they too in on the Warriors, or is it just like, or is there still like that big gap between these teams? I don't know, man. Like I've watched a little of the series. I just does not seem like the Lakers should be plus 260 tonight.
I think the biggest thing is that LeBron has just aged a lot. And as much as AD has done well, I say it all the time. AD is the most overrated superstar in the NBA. He can be hot and cold for long stretches, games back to back. But on top of just a team responding to a loss, a team having their backs against the wall, and then this team having, just obviously a ton of playoff experience. The other thing is going back to with LeBron and him being old and him being still technically their top guy as much as AD's been better. The Lakers were not good when they have one game of rest in between games. If you look against the spread, particularly, that's where they struggled throughout the year. So that's also why, I thought no issues for the.
Yeah, no, it's a fair stat. I throw that stuff off when playoff comes. I don't like looking at regular season stuff like that in the playoffs, but I guess it's fair. I guess that explains some of the spread, anyways. I feel like the Lakers are getting undervalued, but I guess
they've dominated this series. Again, they're up 3-1. I'm shocked they're underdogs by so much. They're catching nearly 4 buckets here. It kind of feels like a steal, Nick.
Right, but yes, I mean and that's partially why I say take it at an alternate spread and go at 6.5, a little bit safer. But yeah, I understand your point, Jeff, in general. Like, but at the same time, there are certain areas where we've seen that kind of play true. And you look at game 2, right? The Lakers go and take game 1 because they were well rested. Everybody's like, okay, and it made sense as much as they were still underdogs. But then game 2, you see the Warriors take it because there's one game of rest in between. I know it's been consistent throughout, but we're a Lonnie Walker game away from this being 2-2.
Yeah, that's 120. That was they destroyed the Lakers in that one too, 127 to 100. But that was the 117, 112 setback in game 1. What's your lean in Heat Knicks?
This is tough because when I looked at that Knicks series against the Cavs, right? I think we actually did a hit for ESPN Emerson where the Knicks were up 3-1 in that series against the Cavs, and I went with the Knicks in game 4 in that one because we saw what the Cavs had done in that series, and this is all relevant, trust me, to this Heat series. But the Cavs were not ready. Donovan Mitchell has a history of just choking in the playoffs, and then the Knicks just went for it as much as they were underdogs in that game. It's a similar situation because the Knicks are not up to par with the Heat. Obviously, the Heat have just turned back the clock and turned into the bubble Heat again somehow. So I understand. I think Julian's taking the points in this one. I would rather go with the money line here. I don't feel quite as good because this is still at Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks are a team that can still, like, on any given night, put up a good fight. Obviously, the Heat are going to win this series, but if you're going to play this one here, I would go money line.
All right, so Knicks 3-1 at home so far in the postseason, and their backs are against the wall. Jeff Ulrich, do you have a question for Nick about this game as well?
No, I mean, here's my question for you. How long do you think the Heat can keep this up? Like, do you think that if the Knicks, like you said, the Heat are going to win the series, but do you think if the Knicks win this game tonight, do you think there's a viable chance they can come back?
No, I don't think the Knicks.
I think it all depends on
like
the
you just don't think they're that good.
Jimmy
And like
Butler.
I'm not even going to make a comment about this one because I'll just rely on you. But yeah, look, so you don't think there's any value in looking to like the Knicks in the series or anything like that?
No, look, I like the Knicks, and the Knicks did. I mean, Emerson can attest to this. The Knicks definitely were a team that I turned to a lot throughout the regular season. But there's a reason for that. They're a regular season team. That is the way Tom Thibodeau runs things. And as much as they have good players, they don't have that bona fide superstar. And with Jimmy Butler right now, I mean, he knows how to get it done, and he's obviously one of the best playoff players in the league.
Yeah, I could see the Knicks winning tonight, but it does seem like they'll probably just get beat in Miami. So
yeah. It's a tough one. It is a tough one, but I think money, like if I'm probably staying away from this, but money line is the play if you're going to do it.
I mean, good news for the Knicks is this is a home game and they don't have to deal with the weather down in Miami. Did you see that clip the other day from Greeny?
No, I did not.
You didn't? Yeah. He was saying that the weather was taking a toll and like just the environment down there in South Beach for the Knicks. And by weather, I think he meant strip clubs and nightlife.
Yes.
When you throw environment into the mix, then I start wondering if maybe
environment.
That's
Yeah. Edmonton, I'm told, is like the Miami of Canada, Jeff.
Yes.
And listen, dude, tonight, the freaking Oilers need to step it up and not this series up, please, against Vegas. Last time out, that was such a weird series, or weird game, rather. Game 3 between Vegas and Edmonton. So, Jeff, we've texted about it quite a bit. Both starting goalies were replaced. There was one due to injury. Yeah. The crazy stat to me, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid were both held pointless. So what the hell's going to happen in the late game tonight?
Okay, so this whole NHL playoffs is becoming, it's just like a manic episode.
I don't know
what's going on in that Devils Hurricane series either. You tell me that the Devils have allowed like 5 goals on like 5. This is the team that like barely gave up 5 goals once or twice in the regular season. Now they've done it like 5 times in the last 7 games. I do not know what's going on in that Carolina series either, but the Oilers have showed up for 4 periods of hockey so far in the second round. And the other periods, they've just been non-existent. And that's like the start of it. So the Oilers just need to show up. They just need to show up. If they show up, this game's going to be at the very least extremely close. And if they do show up and they get a little goaltending and Aiden Hills regresses a bit, it's going to be a blowout. But they got to show up. Like they've got to play. They can't just like come and play for the first period and then like take the second off. Vegas is still a really good 5-on-5 team. And the thing is, like, they don't have a problem showing up. They've showed up all playoffs outside of the first game against Winnipeg. Since then, Vegas has been one of the best teams in the playoffs 5-on-5. So, if you're backing the Oilers, I mean, at this point, you've got a couple things to worry about. You don't just have to worry about them on showing up. You also have to worry about what's going on in net. They're sticking with Stuart Skinner, who's got a .88 save percentage in the playoffs. He's 24th out of 28 goalies in saves above expectation, which just means he's not making like a ton of like big saves, really.
That was a stinker in game 3, dude.
Yeah,
stinker.
And you know what? Like, he's a rookie. He's played 40. He started 48 games. That's the most games he's ever started in a season. And they're relying on him for a lot. And I'm surprised they're not going to Jack Campbell. I don't like the move personally, but the thing is, the Oilers are good enough that if they show up tonight, they can win. So
yeah,
I don't really know. I think I'd rather stay. What I think the Oilers are going to, I think they're going to fire a lot of pucks. And my way to play this game is I just want to look at the shot on goal props. I want to look at the player props. I do not have enough confidence to sit here and go just ride the public with the Oilers. If you're forcing me to choose, I'd probably do that. I'd probably play the Oilers in regulation or something like that. But I think a better thing to do is look at the shot on goal props. You mentioned no points for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. These guys know. Like, that was just unacceptable. Evander Kane over 3.5 shots is something you could look at, plus 120. Would not be shocked if Evander Kane just had one of those nights where he ended up with like 7 shots. Even Connor McDavid, it's not a great number, but like minus 160. I'll be pretty shocked if Connor McDavid doesn't put at least 4 pucks on net tonight.
Hell yeah. Do it.
It's embarrassing for these guys, right? So yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Looking at some player props, that's how I want to play it. I just don't. But the Oilers have just been so untrustworthy in terms of what they're doing, and now they've got this goaltender situation. I don't really know what to say. And then as far as the total goals, we're at 7. Again, I mean, the Oilers could hit this on their own tonight. I mean, I think that I would be leaning over. I think the better total to play would probably be the Oilers over team total. Because
I think we got 2 straight unders, at least in terms of game total.
Yeah, but I mean, a big part of that is like, the Oilers showed up in game 2 and then Vegas didn't. I don't think you're gonna have a problem with Vegas showing up tonight. They've got a chance to really put the Oilers in a vice, but if the Oilers show up, I mean, they could nail this out of the park. So I would still lean over here, but again, I don't really feel good about anything in terms of the game lines. I just like the player props on the Oilers. I think that's where the biggest kind of advantage lies. You're going to see more pucks on the net at the very least.
So how about this stat, Jeff? Hill has actually stopped all 28 shots that he's faced in this series. And what's even more impressive about that is that they all came in relief when he was cold, but did face our boys in Edmonton once in the regular season, allowed 4 goals on 23 shots. So fire at will on this dude from start to finish.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly goes back to the shot on goal props. Adin Hill's, he's not like a terrible goalie, but he's a journeyman. Like this maybe his 3rd or 4th team. He's caught fire for a little periods of time and looked okay. And he's also just, like he keeps going to different teams, which tells you all you need to know. So he's not someone the Oilers should be letting beat them, like in any series at any point, which again would have me leaning Edmonton. But there's a lot of ifs here, man, with the Oilers right now. They need to just show up. They need to just
listen.
They need to get this back on track.
Friar's got a question for you. Nikki Pucks, have at it. The floor is yours.
Okay, so looking at the lay of the land, Jeff, I'm curious. Like, heaven forbid that the Oilers get bounced by the Golden Knights. I don't feel comfortable really saying that out loud around Emerson. But if that happened, what team are you kind of leaning on? What would you think of backing for to win it all? Because I know the Kraken and the Stars are 2-2, Carolina's 3-1, and then the Panthers could close out the Leafs tonight.
Yeah. I actually think the Panthers were at the top of the board at one point. Maybe not with our book, but maybe a few other books.
I can't help but think about them similarly to Jeff's question with Miami. It's like, how long can they keep this going? Like the series they're in right now, I'm sure they'll close out, but what about beyond that?
So, I mean, right now, your question is what happens if the Oilers get bounced? If the Oilers get bounced, Vegas probably goes up to being like, near the top of the board. My answer like today would be to look. I think the Oilers and the Stars present the best value. I mean, I think Edmonton is still very live to win the series, even though I'm a little bit doom and gloom today. And Dallas certainly, I think, eventually prevails in that series. So That's probably where I would look. But this has been a crazy playoffs. I mean, like all of these teams at one point or another were kind of like not really underdogs. Carolina hasn't really been an underdog, but they just weren't really expected to do much. They were without their top two wingers. Vegas was a question mark because of their net. Panthers were expected to get like swept in round one. So there's a lot of uncertainty. It's one of those playoffs where just taking whoever is like loses the night after is probably the best idea. Like, again, if the Oilers lose tonight, it may even be a good idea to jump on them or something like that, because this is just changing so fast. And, like a lot of these teams look good now, but like they weren't high sentiment teams during the regular season. So things can change really quickly again.
How curious is it for you, Jeff? Like, how bizarre is it the Maple Leafs are actually favored tonight here? It's kind of curious because like Samsonov's out, right? And there's the rookie making his first ever postseason start.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, like I don't know. I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, right? Like we may see the Oilers end up doing this if they lose tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is kind of like the Oilers, even if they get down 3-1, they've shown that they can dominate the Golden Knights, and they have for periods already. Toronto hasn't shown that they can dominate. They've carried the play a bit. Like it hasn't been as lopsided as 3-0 would say, but they've also they've done nothing. Like they're just getting beat. And I think the big thing is like Florida. Florida's a good team. Like Matthew Tkachuk is like a top 5 hockey player, top 3 hockey player right now. Bobrovsky he's only 34 and he's like a former, like he used to be like the best goalie in hockey for a bit. So he's just a very good goalie and he's playing at the top. That's the thing that I don't think people have come to reconcile with, that, just because a player's been bad for like a year, he can still be good again. It's like when a guy is so bad and he starts playing well again, people are like, oh my, like he still sucks. It's like, no, he doesn't suck. He was bad for a bit. Players go through ebbs and flows. And I don't feel like the market is reconciling with this Florida resurgence yet. So I would bet the Panthers here, man. I mean, I actually kind of like the Panthers tonight. Like you said, why they're underdogs doesn't make much sense.
Nikki Pucks, talk to me about your favorite baseball bet tonight. There were a boatload of day games, so not a whole lot. Let's see some of the most intriguing matchups here. Rays and Orioles. I believe that's the rubber match of that one. I think it was Eric and Gary in this morning who actually liked the Red Sox against the Braves.
Hey, listen, Eric Halterman. I loved him up until today, but my goodness, the guy absolutely disparaged freaking Jared Schuster, fellow Southeastern Massachusetts native, who I have nothing but love for. The way he was talking about him was like he was like the worst pitcher on the planet. It was like Tim Wakefield without a knuckleball or something like that. It was awful. That said, I don't necessarily blame him for wanting to bet against them tonight. But I am in on the Rays. I'm actually sweating the Astros right now against the Angels. It's going well. I need the Diamondbacks to bounce back. There is a tie game right now, but I'm sweating that one as well.
Okay.
But the one I did want to touch on was Cardinals Cubs. This one has had some interest and movement on this. The Cardinals opened up as -120 favorites, but then we saw the Cubs get all the way down to -120 after they opened up as even money underdogs. Generally speaking, in division, you want to go with the underdogs, of course. The Cubs are coming off a loss, so I do like them a little more. I did back the Cubs on the money line today. They're only at -105, so at a better price. The biggest thing for me, the Cubs do hit left-handed pitching well. And then you look at Justin Steele too. That guy's been an absolute beast. When you look at the deeper numbers too, well, actually, you don't need to go deep too much with Montgomery. He's got like a 0.49 ERA on the road to start the season. That's just something that is not going to hold up for much longer. And then you look at like the contact and everything that he's been giving up. At some point, you would think we're going to see some level of regression just naturally, but also with the contact taken into account. Whereas with Justin Steele, he's not striking guys out as much as he did before. We are seeing really hitters get poor contact against him. So he's still effective in different ways than he has been in the past, which is why I feel confident in him. So yeah, Cubs are definitely my one of my plays that I like a lot tonight.
Dude, just like that, Cardinals have won 3 in a row. What's been a historically bad start for a franchise that's been the epitome of consistent like success here, Nick. Like and on Sunday, they needed 3 home runs from Paul Goldschmidt, and they almost let the Tigers back into that thing.
Yeah, you can never. And the Tigers were a great value today too. Erod went out and absolutely dealt. Was that against the? I can't remember if that was against the Guardians or something like that. They're absolutely killing me right now. But anyways,
no worries.
but yeah, you can't ever count the Cardinals out. Like, yeah, maybe you can bet against them here and there. They were a great team for us last year, but in the course of like the regular season, they always find a way to figure it out. They are to me the ideal Major League Baseball organization. That is it right there, because they will bring in talent, but they also like grow their own talent, and then they keep some of that grown talent, unlike some other teams that do well, but maybe aren't interested in doing well anymore.
All right, gentlemen, it is time to do that thing the people like. We will close up our program, a Wednesday edition of the Slate, with some golf talk. We'll have Fade Fryer coming up, but Jeff Ulrich, well, real quick, what was your bet last week, Nick, that you guys were beefing about?
It was, yeah, that's right. I still don't say his name correctly, but I had him in top 10, and then I had Sung Jae either playing him top 10 or top 20. I was leaning more top 20.
All right, so this week, AT&T Byron Nelson here, Jeff Ulrich. So most of the world's best are kind of spending this week using it to rest up before the PGA Championship next week at Oak Hill in Rochester, New York. So talk to me here. You mentioned this morning, not a lot of value at all. There was Scotty Scheffler, not against this field, right? Betting him. Is there anyone there, though, that we do see on the screen? Anyone near the top of the board who you'd sprinkle something on?
Yeah, I mean, look, Tom Kim is fine, I think. Really, just Tom Kim's just a big talent, and what we've seen from him is it's his first time around the PGA Tour. These easier courses they're easier to figure out when you're a rookie. I mean, there's not much to them. You have a ton of room off the tee here. Softer greens, you're not going to have to scramble much. So, you're just not going to be stressed. Kim hit it really well last week. The ball striking's there. He can get hot with the putter. We've seen it. He's won twice. If he has positive regression with the putter this week, he's going to do really well. He's based out of, I can't remember if he's based out of Dallas. He's definitely based out of Texas.
Dallas is his home. Yeah. Okay. So you got to pay attention to him when they're in the Lone Star.
I love backing the Texas guys in Texas. Like, seriously, it is. It is a thing. You often see them.
It's why Scheffler's playing. Like, he didn't have to play this
exactly.
week.
Yeah, and you often see them play well. So I'm definitely riding that with Kim. He has it, and look, he's gone like 3 months without doing much. So like, I think for Tom Kim to come in here, he wants to put up a big week. He doesn't want to be like the second fiddle, the second tier guy. So I like it. I think it's fine. It's not the biggest number, but again, like in this second tier of players, we don't have a clear guy like Tony Finau like we did in Mexico. We've got Hatton, who I actually don't hate this week either. No idea about Jason Day. Maybe Jason Day pops, maybe he doesn't. Matsuyama, I actually don't mind either. I actually really like him in DFS because I think the injury concerns are going to just cause him to be, a little bit weird and just under-owned. But Tom Kim, everything sort of aligns here. And I think he's talented enough to be like the second favorite. So he shot 3 really solid rounds here last season too. So that's where I would go at the top.
And like Jason Day too, I think wasn't Sobel on Day this morning, who has been in contention on almost a weekly basis.
Kind of lukewarm though, wasn't it? I don't know if he bet anyone at the time.
I can't remember.
He likes Seamus Power.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because I was like, damn, Ulrich usually likes him like every other week, and you love Bezaden who this week too because he's a South African.
Off the Jason Day. Okay, it's a slow process. Just calm down. Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. Fryer, what do you got? Let's go. Hashtag Fade Fryer, people.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
It's your time to shine, pal.
All right, Jeff. So I want you to scroll down all the way to where it says plus 7,500 to win it all. Now, I'm not going to go to win it all.
He's found some confidence finally here, Emerson. I like this. This is good.
No.
I do too.
I'm not doing to win it all.
He's growing.
I like.
That's fine. That's fine. You're going down the board. I like it. Just keep going what you're doing. It's okay.
Plus 600
fabulous, sweetie.
For a top 10 finish. Also plus 460 for top 20. And if you really want to play conservative, plus 150 for top 30. Nate Lashley to finish in the top 10. Or again, you can play those other ones, but I do like him for the top 10 this week. Again, I always say this. I look at Jeff's cheat sheet. By the way, actually, hold on. I buried the lead on this one, Emerson. Jeff accused me. I always give him credit for his great cheat sheet and everything. He accused me of stealing his picks off of his cheat sheet when I always make a point of talking about the stats that he highlights that you want to look into for your research. So he thinks I'm not just like tailing him. I'm like trying to come on the show and steal his picks when I never, ever have done that. If I see someone I like that he talked about, I got to move away from it. I can't do it on here. So I cannot believe he accused me. I'm still very much hurt by that. That's where this all is coming from. I tried to suppress that last
Jeff,
week.
have you had time to cool off, or have you confirmed that he is stealing your picks, Jeff?
I have not confirm or deny.
Hey, listen, Lashley
looked
good
last week.
Still processing the data.
Lashley looked good last year in his debut here at TPC Craig Ranch, man. T17 finish.
Yeah, I mean, he played well last week too. Nate Lashley, this is the kind of course you want to take Nate Lashley at. His around the green game will eventually suffer, but his one win came at Detroit Golf Course, which is just, they go like 20 under, 25 under.
Yeah, that I was just about
big fairways. This is a good spot for Nate Lashley. I don't disagree with the pick at all.
Three consecutive top 40 finishes.
And last year, he had similar form last year too. Had a top 30 showing in the tournament before, and then a top 40 showing in the one before that.
It's a pretty reasonable bet to take him in this range. And I think the other thing is, like, when you're looking at this range, Eric Cole stands out a little bit, but like so does Dylan Wu. But there's a lot of players who are good, but they're not in form. Like Aaron Wise hasn't played. Justin Suh's looked terrible of late. I don't trust Jimmy Walker enough. Aaron Wright doesn't hit it far enough. And there's not much else. So, I mean, I think Lashley kind of sticks out. He's got that nice blend of recent form too. So, I'm on it.
So
Brian,
top 10 or top 20? What?
I was just going to say, do you have anything else?
No, but the only thing I wanted to add real quickly was that I think this is one of those instances where it's worth maybe splitting up a unit to have him top 20 and top 40 and go a little bit more.
Yeah, ladder bet it. Absolutely. You can ladder bet a guy. I'm doing the same thing with Bezadenhout this week. Similar range. I like this range of players. He's plus 500 on DraftKings for a top 10. You sprinkle a tiny bit. You put the rest on the top 20. I think Bezadenhout and Lashley are both actually really good. Bezadenhout's been gaining strokes on approach. He's probably one of the best, if not the best putter in this field. He's one of the best. Second in strokes gained bent grass. It's the same kind of deal. You want to pick to win, a little bit top 20, a little bit, get some top 10 action for a little bit more upside. But these guys are both really good placing bets here. And this is kind of where, you can bet Tom Kim at the top. You can even bet two guys at the top. But like if you're in this range, you should kind of be looking to what I like to call ladder betting is, top 10, a little sprinkle on the outright, maybe even top 5, and just take like a couple players in this range, and you hit one and you're profitable for the week. So I like this range. I like both players we brought up, and Michael Kim's another guy, but it's the kind of week where you're probably going to see someone like that. It may be even someone who, like Trey Mullinax could win. It wouldn't shock me. Someone like that. So it's going to be a wild week. Lots of birdies, potential thunderstorms.
Oh yeah, I forgot you mentioned that weather this morning.
Ugh.
All right, you guys were phenomenal. We have the Ravens and Saints battling in the land of Madden coming up next. Nice work, Nick, Jeff, AC, producer Eamon. Love you guys and gals. We're back live tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock Eastern time for a Thursday edition of The Sweat. We'll see you then.